All right, so I have a few things to talk about. Uh, Yesterday, I went on the TikTok thing, and I went, like, I hadn't been going and doing it. I just posted some of those things, like I was talking about with I love, because it kind of, to me, it is putting these affirmations into, it's like a reprogramming. So we look at things and we start going, oh, I love that. I love that. Get into that kind of headspace because we're in such a defeated headspace, and it's up to us to change what we're looking at, what we're focused on, because once we do, that's what changes everything inside of us, you know. It's so crazy because it is all in how you focus your energy, and that's why some people are just still so asleep, is because they're so focused on pleasing others and being a part of the system that they haven't realized what's happening in this system and what it's doing to enslave them, it's just wild. Because once you start looking and seeing, it's like you see past the illusion and then everything becomes clear. But you have to be in that kind of more going towards healing, because as long as you are still in that kind of injured, wounded, painful place, you are trying to get other people to fulfill you, or you've just, you've isolated and you're just really super, you know, closed in on yourself. And, the whole thing is just there's so many people, they just don't even realize that they have a soul. It's almost like their soul is kind of a burden. They don't want anything talking to them, giving them guidance. They're just trying to fit into the world. And it's such a difference of turning off the noise outside and turning on the noise inside, and it really does transform you. And so when I went on there and I was looking on the homepage thing, for some reason, I thought that it would just be all people who I had been following, because all the people who were following me, I was just following them back, and I wasn't going in and looking at their stuff. Well, I went in yesterday and looked, because when I went on the main page, it was disturbing. I was like, oh my God, this must be Odin's men's For You page, because this is creepy. When I had gone on before, I didn't see those people, and I thought he had his own little, his own little nest of weirdness. But now that I went on there yesterday, I was like, oh my God, oh my God. I mean, there was just such disturbing stuff. One of the things was somebody, it makes me sick, because you know how I feel about animals. And one of them was two fighting dogs, I guess. I'm not sure. One of them seemed pretty weak. And the one had grabbed a hold of the other one with its mouth and had a big bite, like had half of this dog's hip in its mouth, just clamped down. And the one dog is screaming. Oh God, it was disturbing. The one dog was screaming, trying to get away. And the person, I don't know if they were kicking the dog or trying to pry its mouth open. It was a very disturbing scene. And the person, whoever had said it, has said something like, oh, he didn't call back or something. I was like, oh my God, this friggin' dog is being wounded, deeply wounded. This is just not a joke. I don't know what people have just got these. I don't know. Some things aren't funny. It's not funny. They get stuck in your head, Seeing animals get treated like that really gets stuck in your head. It's fucking horrible. I was one time before, when I was on TikTok, somebody sent me a direct message. I stopped opening them after I opened this one, and because they would send me all sorts of links. I don't know if they were trying to get me to talk about it. I'm not sure, but I would just get tons of them. And but I stopped opening them after I opened the one. Oh God, it was so disturbing. It was over. I don't know where it was, but it was a dog trade video. Oh fuck, it was disturbing. As soon as I saw and saw what was happening, I had to turn it off immediately. I think it was a video of somebody rescuing them, but still, that's one of the things, like, this stuff is going on. Like, I have the awareness it's going on, but it makes me so sick to see, you know, people just don't understand about consciousness and about energy and about life and stuff. They just believe what they're told so much. But there's also, a young girl on there soliciting. Oh, God. People have just lost all respect for themselves. They're just have reached a point of desperation, just like what I was saying yesterday. I just get this when I go on TikTok. You just can't help but feel the desperation that's in there. People are so lonely and sad and just want to be noticed. They just want some connection, and that's where we all got to start stepping up and connecting. And we got to pull some of these people out of their dark places they're at. They all need to start getting in touch with their spirit side. And their spirit side will lead them out of that pain and suffering, But it's just, there's so much being misled. It's just super sad, because I think even psychology is misleading. I mean, it's got a lot of good techniques, a lot of good tools, but it's a dead end. You can stay trapped in that. My one daughter's been going to counseling for like 8 years. It's like a system that just keeps you in there. And I don't know. To me, the spiritual healing it's just deeper and it's more real. There's no faking it. Like, how it used to be with religions and Christians and stuff, they could go and pretend. They could pretend like they were a good Christian person and that they loved God and, they followed God's law for that hour when they were at church, and show all their friends how beautiful their family looked. And, I've got a perfect family, so I'm obviously a good person. Obviously. It's like the world back then was so it was just, nothing was real. People could go and pretend like they were something that they weren't. And, that's continued. I mean, I was thinking about this morning when I was a little kid. And, I was like 10 and I had to do a paper route. And I was like, nobody would let their 10-year-old go out nowadays and go ride their bike through all sorts of neighborhoods, throwing papers, go around by themselves, collecting money and stuff like that. Nobody would let their 10-year-old go up to strangers' doors by themselves and stuff now. It was so different back then. And I was just thinking, it's just so weird too, because so many of these people wouldn't pay me. I was like a little kid. I'm throwing their paper. I'm going out and doing all this work. I'm throwing their paper. And some were specific, like, you better get their paper right where they want it. And then they couldn't pony up the $1.25 or something for the month, That's why I quit doing it. Nobody would ever pay. You have to, back then, it's totally different now, I guess. But back then, I think you had to pay for all your papers. Then you'd have to get them. You'd get this big stack of papers. Then you'd have to roll them. Like, there's a specific way you had to roll them, and then band them. And then, go fill your basket, and then go out and deliver them. And, it was a real job. And these people wouldn't pay so many. It wasn't just like one. It was like one after another. And as a 10-year-old, I'm just thinking, like, what is up with these people? Like, why don't they want to pay me? Like, it's so weird. And now, I look at it and it's just like, how many people just were willing to rip off whoever just for this idea of what they thought of as success. Like, this world was selling them this idea of success, and they were willing to throw anybody under the bus. I mean, people throw their own mom under the bus. They sure the hell didn't care about some little kid. But that was all coming from inside of people. And that was all stuff that people had to learn. And some people didn't learn it until they went to their life after death review. Until you go in and you actually look and you see and you experience it from other people's perspectives of who and what you really are. And, that is an eye-opener for a lot of souls. And, it's the drive to do better. It's a whole thing about a soul's journey. And So, you know, it has been a part of our development as consciousness to need to go through that. But anybody who wants to just say, oh, it's just the Cabal's fault, we've had a shitty ass, you know, world here. No, each person participated. That's why it's up to us to change it. It's up to us to make the changes, because we conformed and became rotten when they gave us the opportunity. A lot of people are, you know, like, yeah, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. Dog eat dog world, you know, even the words rat race, like, and it was, you know, that's what it developed into. People ripping each other off, anybody, you know, just to get, you know, $5. And it's just, you know, it's the way that we turned it. So it's up to us to turn it the other direction now, you know. But I thought it was really cool. So when I went on and I was looking on you know, who was following me, because I was gonna just take them off if they were like putting on things about dog fights and prostitution online, and I was just gonna go in and just unfollow them. And I was like, well, I better just start paying better attention. So I started going in and looking, and most of them hadn't even posted anything yet. You know, so it wasn't their stuff. And the ones who had posted was just, you know, regular girl. I mean, someone showing like how to cook something, just, you know, just regular stuff. Painting, you know, just doing silly things around their house, you know, just regular stuff. And, but I saw it was almost entirely women. And so I was telling my daughter, I said, it's super cool. It's like all these women are following me. I feel like we're forming like a women's group, you know? And, she went on and looked at hers. And, you know, when she did that viral video, she had like, I don't know, I think she had like 1,000 followers, or maybe 2,000 or something. Could have even been like 3,000. I don't know, but it was like down there. And then in a week, she was up to over 35,000. Now I think it's like been a week and a half since that video. That video is at 7 million, and she says it's nonstop. People still just not, she had to turn the comments off because so many people, she says it's just nonstop. People wanting to, I don't know, talk about me. And I know it has to do with everybody is just feeling so repressed. They just want to free themselves. They can just recognize, you see somebody who is living that way. It's like, oh, I want to live like that. How do I do that? You know, that's why I talk about it, because I wasn't always this way. You know, I was tightly wound. You know, I was super type A workaholic. You know, oh, that's out of place. I'll scoot it over an inch. You know, I was like, oh, everything was like, and now I feel like I'm back to where I was when my soul came into this place. You know, I just feel free. I feel happy. I feel excited. I feel ready to explore and to experience. And, you know, I'm not going to be affected by other people's emotions and other people's, you know, if they're carrying hateful thoughts and mean stuff, then, you know, they just need to keep it inside them. I don't want any part of it. So, you know, when she saw that she had, hers was 98% women. No, 94%. It said 6% were men, 94% were women. I was like, oh my gosh, we've got like a real women's group like going, you know. It's super exciting. All these women coming together, you know. And she was talking to me about some of the stuff she's been on, which she's really, you know, she's really been transforming herself. I mean, now we could totally go on, and she's going to see about going live on TikTok and us going in and having some conversations about spirituality and sharing our perspectives so that other people can hear our perspectives. But, you know, I mean, now we can go in and we can talk about that stuff. So I'm super excited about that. You know, it's nice to have somebody that you can talk about soul stuff with and they get it, because it sucks when everybody's just so focused on this three-dimensional experience and they don't question anything. They're just trying to survive, you know. So I feel really excited about the, you know, if we're going to go live, and plus just getting more and more women, because this is the time of the divine feminine. And she was saying there's so much stuff about that, and I already had heard so much about that for the age of Aquarius. It's moving into the divine feminine. We're moving out of the patriarch, and and that's the way it used to be. Like if you go and listen to how tribes and stuff, what they talk about, the women is like they were the ones who were making decisions. And another thing too with the tribe is if it isn't good for everybody, then it's no good. Everything is very all inclusive. We're not going to do that if it's going to leave this person out. And I think that is where we're going to go to more with building communities. I think we're going to get a lot more community lifestyle where, people feel connected and feel a part of things. And, but it's each person has to walk into, you have to walk through the door to empower yourself. You have to recognize the path that's laid out for you and feel strong enough and empowered enough in yourself to walk that path. And so many people don't feel that. They don't feel worthy. They don't feel like they can be successful. They're just really hard on themselves. And that's all internal messaging, that comes from an unhealed place. And a lot of it comes from other lives and stuff. So when you start doing your healing, a lot of stuff is really deep. And a lot of people won't understand it. And that's why it is a very personal journey. But, you have your soul and your connection to all that is. And those answers come. I'm telling you too, the stuff that I have been experiencing with the psychic stuff, I'm telling you, just really, really work on it, because my stuff is just being over the top. Like I'm just blown away. I had no idea because, as a little kid that, when they started talking to me and stuff, and I started seeing things, when I was younger, and I could tell people, like I could see what was going to happen. A lot of times people would just be like, oh, that's just what you think. That's what you think's going to happen. God, you're negative or something, because I'd always be like, well, if you do that, blah, blah, blah is going to happen. Like I could just see it. And, but I thought everybody else, so I thought everybody was the same. I thought, oh, am I just kind of controlling? Like, you gotta, my vision's better than your vision or something. So I kind of just, well, no, I didn't pull it back. I constantly was telling people, well, if you do that, this is going to happen, because I always knew. And now I'm seeing like, oh my gosh. So all that time that I was, like I was trying to explain it to somebody, and to me it is like, I know I've explained it before on here, but it's like they just show me the whole thing. Like something can be, something can be said about something. And it is just like out of my eyes, it is like all of a sudden I can see like a road or something along the road is all of the things. And I can go up and I can see like what all of the things, like I can see what's to come. So I completely get now in those things like Game of Thrones or something like that, a seer. I think in that one they used the raven, but in other, I think in that one too they had the red lady or whatever. But the people who can see now, I totally get it. I just thought that we all were the same. I didn't realize like I had more developed in these places. So that's what I'm trying to share about it, is because you just can develop it. It is learning how to communicate with the other side and tuning in and listening, because they're always talking. And a lot of people just don't get that there's always talking. And they think, oh, well, I've got thoughts in my head. But when you start realizing all of your thoughts in your head is not, your brain's just not, manufacturing thoughts. Like you can get stuck on a thought and keep thinking about something. You can develop a thought or something, but you have actual communication going. And so when you start tapping into it, and part of it is just realizing it's real, realizing that there really is communication. And because once you see it, once you know it, once you understand it, then it's clear. And that's what he was saying about all this stuff. It is so much about people just not knowing it or not believing it, so they don't see it, because in their mind they can't comprehend it, and that's a development. Not everybody's in the same place. But if if you do keep feeling that, like, that psychic, you're tapped in, you understand things, you can see things that other people don't see, you can see beyond what people can comprehend, and you can hear people talking, and they show you pictures. Like, there's all sorts of ways they communicate, but the more you tap into it and recognize, and the more you start developing how you translate how they are, like, they show you something, like they show you a picture in your head, and they'll give you a feeling, and you see it, and then the feeling will attach to something, and you'll be like, oh, and it will give you like an aha moment. But it's a translation. So sometimes you'll think, oh, I know what that means. It means blah, blah, blah. But then something will play out, and you'll see, because it was showing you something different. So it's always been hindsight. So that is the part where you're kind of developing to understand, like, do I understand what you're saying? And you can ask them questions. Don't forget, ask questions. And give them, when you start out, give them ways to show you. Tell them, give me blah, blah, blah. Give me a certain number. Give me a certain song. Show me blah, blah, blah a couple times today. There's all sorts of ways that you start figuring out how to trust this communication. But then it's all about, translating and understanding what they're saying to you. And once you get to that part where you feel like you're in sync and you get what they're saying and stuff, I'm telling you, it just makes your path less rocky. It's like you're going to always have lessons. You're here to have lessons. You're here to expand, to grow. So you're always going to have things that come up to help you do that. But it is, I don't know, it's different. It's like they kind of clear the path of just like all of the more stumbly shit, and I don't know. It feels different than I used to feel when I wasn't as connected. When I wasn't as connected, I did feel more like alone and isolated and confused. And, you focus on what's not going right, and that brings more what's not going right to you. So you just get in this cycle, of kind of beat down feeling. But then when you start focusing on them and communication, and like I said, they'll start telling you things beforehand, like all the time. Like if I'm going to be doing something, they'll show me something, like something will suddenly be laying there. And that's where I said, like, now I'll start being like, oh, I'm going to need that in a minute. And it will always happen. So you start getting things before you need them. And that's what it's like. When you're tuned into them, they start just, little things just become easier. They give you stuff before you need it. They tell you in your head what's about to happen. Like, it just is, in communicating with people, they'll tell you clearly in your head. You won't have doubts about that, certain things. So it is just as a development. It's like going to the gym and working out. And, just like if my phone makes a text noise or, makes a beep or whatever, I'll think about what it is and who it is before I look. And then I'll check and see if I'm right. And, I would say I'm probably 99.9% right. Like I know. And I can know what somebody's calling to talk about. I can know what... yesterday, somebody surprised me, though. I did not see something coming at all when they told me something. And it was definitely about a psychic thing that I had done that I had no awareness of. And it was just blew my mind. And it was like, oh my gosh, when we get to the place that we're all like that, we're all tapped in, it is going to be, there would be no way that people could treat you bad and fuck you over. because you're tapped in. You would recognize it immediately. You would know, like, ooh, this isn't, I don't hang out with them, you know. You are just, it's like tapped in feeling. So, yeah, it's amazing when you see the results of it. It's really super exciting. You know, I want everybody to get to experience that. I want everybody to get to connect with what's out there and stop being scared of this, you know, this world they've created to keep everybody trapped in fear and slave. You know, they just want your energy. They don't care about you. You know, that you don't, most of these people who are trapped in their system don't even know that they have something that is that valuable, that they would do anything to try and control it. So once you start seeing how fantastic you are, I mean, we're not just energy, we're conscious energy. I mean, that is fucking, think about energy. Think about all the energy out there. Think about conscious energy. You know, you have abilities to control your energy. You have abilities to control your energy to the point you can be born into an experience. Like, the stuff that is real is so magical and so hidden, and it is so fantastic. And you know, I'm really excited for where we're headed. You know, for everybody to get to see. It is like, it is so much like you feel like you're that person out on the street corner. Oh, you know, before they used to use it as Jesus. I mean, there's just so much manipulation with their words and stuff. Because even if you go out and you say God and stuff, but it is more of you tapping into you and tapping into your connection that you forgot about while you were in a body. So then it's like it's like being in two places at once, because you can be tapped in, but you can also be in the present moment. So I don't know, it's very fantastic. And it is definitely something that I believe that we're all going to be working on developing. And, you know, we're moving into a really cool time. You know, the galactic kind of, the Galactic Federation, and, you know, traveling and time travel and all of it. You know, and all the technology and just the healing, you know, to go around in a body that is not having any pain that I could see out of. Oh my God. That is so crazy. I'm so excited for what's to come. So hopefully everybody's excited, you know, and we got to just get through this part. And I've had, oh my God, the planes and helicopters for the last couple of days. This morning, I think it started like at 5 or something. It was really early. And so loud. I don't know. I would imagine it probably is because I'm close to the border. And, you know, I mean, I've known for a long time that the Chinese army is waiting over there to march over. I can't imagine they just march and the helicopters are all, they're just lasering. I don't know what the hell's going on. I mean, everything's so secretive about, you know, it's all it's an information war. It's an information war. How many of us can they kill us by keeping us ignorant to what's going on? It's their game. It's the games they like. So, but, you know, they can't catch us all. And even when they do catch some, you know, it's a transition. Nobody's leaving us forever. You know, it's just a transition. They finished that game. They completed that level, and they're going on to a different one, which I think most of the people are going and getting more prepared for, you know, the new earth. Because the new age is going to be fantastic. You know, we're all just having to purge out this old nonsense, because, you know, we will be the ones who carry this information forward for the generations to come, you know, so that we can stay free. Humans want to stay free. Who cares if we're just sexual little monkeys? Who cares? We're natural, and we get to go and live a natural life. We don't have to be their slaves anymore. So anyways, good times are coming. So let's just stay in gratitude and focus on joy. I'll talk to you later. Bye.